Live stream selling has been probably one of the best decisions that I've made for my small business this year, with my most successful live stream being 1 week ago where I made $1,200 in 2 hours. Now you guys, it is time to get into my top tips for selling online. I feel like this portion of the video has been long awaited. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Morgan and I'm the maker behind LA Crochet, and if you're one of my fabulous returning crochet friends, then hey, welcome back. In today's video, we are going to be talking about live stream selling. This video has been one of my most requested videos ever since I started live stream selling. You guys have been like, how do you get started? What even is this? What tips and advice do you have for live stream selling? Well, we are going to address all of that in this video, and specifically, we're going to be talking about live stream selling on Palmstreet, which is also the sponsor of today's video. So if you're sitting here and you're like, okay, cool, but Morgan, what in the world is Palmstreet? Totally okay. I actually didn't know what it was either, because originally it started out as a plant selling platform, but it is a live stream selling platform that has been rapidly expanding well beyond plants. Now they offer handmade items, jewelry, crystals, pottery, and like I said, they're really expanding, and they now have over 1.5 million users. So as you can imagine, this video can be helpful for any type of small business, not just crochet. Palmstreet really is the perfect platform for live stream selling because it allows you to live stream all of your creations. You can auction off your items, and you can also set up a traditional shop that anybody can purchase from at any time. And in this entire video, I'm speaking entirely from personal experience. I started live stream selling, I think in like the beginning of February about, and it has been an absolute game changer. Live stream selling has been probably one of the best decisions that I've made for my small business this year. In that time, I've gone live about 10 times, I believe, and I've made well over $7,000, with my most successful live stream being 1 week ago where I made $1,200 in 2 hours, which you guys absolutely blew my mind. Like, this is still so crazy to me that we're able to do this. And if you came to that live stream, thank you so much for your support. But that means I'm averaging close to $800 per live stream, which far exceeds my in-person markets. So you guys, in today's video, we are going to go through the application process together. I'm going to show you all of the different steps for setting up your shop. And if you are interested in applying to sell on Palmstreet, you can find the application link in the description. We'll also do a mock live stream together so you guys can really get a feel of what it's like. And I'll also take you guys through everything that I do before all of my live streams. I'll show you what my shop looks like. I'll show you snippets of my last live, which again was my most successful live yet. We'll talk about the benefits of live streaming, and finally, I will share with you guys my top tips for live stream selling. Before we get into it though, be sure that you like this video, subscribe, and of course, as always, you can check out my Instagram, my Etsy, and of course my Palmstreet, linked in the description. As you can see, our peanut gallery is looking a little bit different today. That one loaf cat is the only loaf cat that I have left, so we're filling things out today with some booty bees. By the way, you guys, if you haven't seen, I have a free tutorial up on my YouTube channel for the booty bee pattern, so check it out. And again, at any point in this video, if you would like to apply to sell on Palmstreet, you can find that link in the description. But alrighty, you guys, let us get into this video. So you guys, the first thing that we're going to do, of course, is apply to be a seller on Palmstreet. So right now I'm looking at one of my previous videos on YouTube, and if you look in the description here, you can see want to apply to be a seller on Palmstreet, apply here. So we're going to click that link, and that's going to bring us to this application page here. So we just click this green button that says apply now. Of course, we're going to enter our first name. I'm going to enter in Morgan. Then for the next question, enter in your last name. I'm going to type in LA. By the way, it's so funny to me when you guys refer to my husband as Mr. LA. But anyway, we're going to enter our last name. Then after that, what do you plan on selling? So we are going to say, of course, crochet. But here's the point where if you want to sell anything, you can just input that here. What is the link to your social media profile that tells us more about your business? So this is probably where you're going to want to input the URL to your Instagram account. So we just go to our Instagram account, copy and paste the URL, and then input that right there. Next question, how long have you been selling products? So I'm going to say 1 to 3 years because it's actually been over a year for me. What is your Palmstreet username? So I'm going to go ahead and type LA Crochet. Of course, I already have an account. So basically once we get to the end of this, I'm just not going to hit submit, but this is where you're going to want to put exactly what you want your profile name to be. And then this is where we're going to want to enter our email. And basically, I believe all application communication will be done through this email, so make sure you put in the correct one. So we're gonna put in our email, allecrochet@gmail.com. Is there anything else that we should know that you weren't able to share in this application? This can be any relevant business information that will help us get a better understanding when reviewing your application. I feel like here, if you wanted to, you could put in information like if you have a YouTube channel or if you have a TikTok account, you could put in information like that to show off more of your work. Let's say if you're a crochet artist, but you also sell items like amigurumi sticks or like hand-painted custom eyes, you could probably also put that in here as well. But at this point, you're going to hit the green submit button, and it's been communicated to me that the typical application time is around 48 hours, max 72. And that's it, you guys. As you can see, it is a really, really easy application process. And the great news is you can just apply whenever you'd like, and then you can get your shop up and running and schedule your first live whenever works best for you. There's absolutely no time pressure because there's no application fee. There is no listing fee. Basically, you only pay a selling fee when you make money, but we'll get more into that in a little bit. And now, you guys, 72 hours have magically just passed and we've been approved to start live selling on Palmstreet. So let me take you through kind of what the app looks like, all the different features, and then I'll show you all the different things on my shop. So when you first open the Palmstreet app, this is what it looks like. It basically shows you all of the different people who are currently live. And as you can see right here, we've got some plant sellers, we've got some jewelry sellers, but as you scroll down, you'll see all of the people who are currently live selling. And that's one of the really great things about Palmstreet is no matter how many followers or bookmarks or anything like that you have, you will show up on this page if you're live, which really increases the probability that kind of random people will stumble across your live. But up here you can see, so the people that I'm following, they'll come up on here. Love Lisa with Happiness Handmade KC, of course, Crafty Kate, all of these lovely creators are right here that I follow. There is a plant tab if you're looking for plants. Makers, so this is where us crochet artists kind of live along with other friends. In the top right corner, you'll see my sales. That's basically all the orders that you currently have pending. I'm not going to click on it because I do have people's personal information in there. But if we go down here, you can click on shop, and these are basically all the different shops that are recommended for you. You can click the explore page. This is where it shows you kind of all the different posts and everything that people have made. Again, I'm not going to click on the message app just because there's people's names and things on there, but that's how people communicate with you. And finally, you guys, when we click on profile, that will take us to our profile, of course. So now let's talk through setting up a shop. So in the application process, you probably already picked your username. As you can see here, mine is Ale Crochet. Highly recommend that you make your username what it is on other social media platforms, just so it makes it easier for everybody to find you. So if we click the little pencil mark to edit the profile, this is where you can choose your profile picture. I like to make my profile picture the same as it is on like Instagram and YouTube. Again, just so that way when people see that picture, they know that that's really me. This is also where we can add our description. So of course, this is what I have here. It's just like a very brief hello and letting everybody know all of the different things that I sell on my shop. This is really customizable to you. So whatever information you want people to know, just pop that in right there. Of course, we have our email here, and then it'll also have your phone number, which I'm gonna have to block out for you guys right here. Not that I don't want to talk to y'all, but so if we come back out here, you can see all of the friends who are following you, everybody who you are following, and this right here is where your description is going to pop up. Now, if we scroll down here, there are 4 different like tabs, I guess, on your profile. So let's go through all of them. The first one is the events tab. This is basically all of the current lives that you have coming up or all of the ones that you have done in the past. So here are all of my past lives, and as you can see, I have my one coming up here on the 14th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's super exciting because we already have 93 bookmarks. Then if we click on shop, this is basically where it gets really traditional. So you can set up a shop where people can find it at any point in time, make a purchase whenever they want. Very similar to other online selling platforms. So as we scroll through here, you'll see all of the friends that actually sold during my last Palmstreet live. Then if we click on the post section, this is where I just make all of my posts. So there's special announcements about new patterns, upcoming lives, fun things that we're going to do. And then finally, this is probably the tab that I use the least often. I haven't added to this one in a while, but since it is traditionally a plant selling platform, I thought that it would be kind of cute to add some like plant pictures, since this is where in plant selling shops, they typically put all of their favorite plants. So I made a crochet hanging plant, the purple flower plant, and then the succulents, and I put them all in here just because I thought it'd be cute. If we go up to the share button here, basically this is how you can share your shop with anyone. So if they scan the QR code, it's really easy for them to access your shop. If we click the gear icon, this is where you can find all of your orders, payment methods, and this is also where you can decide on your shipping. So if we click on the shop policies button, this is where you can input the address that you're currently shipping from. Something that I just like to do is have a PO box. That way your personal address isn't getting shipped off to everybody with every package. But you can select all the days that you currently ship on. The way that I typically do it is I'll just group up like a bunch of orders and then take them all to the post office in one trip. You can add a local pickup option. So if there's someone who orders from your shop, you can check that box and then you guys can work out where you're going to exchange the merchandise. I don't currently do that just because I feel like most of the people that buy from my shop are from really far away. So I just don't even bother with that. But if you have a very large like local presence, that's a really cool option to have. Now we come to shipping. So what I do for my shop is I basically just have a flat rate for everything. So I do an $8 flat rate and then it's an additional $2 for each item that they add on to the order. If you are selling something that's super small, like let's say you sold an octo or like an axolotl or something like that, you can manually change the shipping price in that individual listing. So you could make it like $5 instead. But I usually just start with that because I feel like for my location, that's really like the sweet spot. It typically costs between like $8 and $10 to ship out items, especially since a lot of my buyers usually buy multiple items. So that kind of increases the shipping costs as well. Now, you guys, let's go through actually adding a listing to our shop. So I'm going to go down to the bottom right corner and click the green plus mark. This gives us a bunch of different options and we'll kind of go through each one. So we'll talk about the live show. We'll talk about what the purge is. But here you can see there's an option to add a listing, add something to your shop, add a post, different things like that. So we are going to click the listing button and we're going to add the title. So I'm going to show you guys how to add a listing for this booty bee, for example. So the first thing that I like to do is just add a fun emoji. This is not at all required. It's just like a little tradition that I always do for all of my listings. So since it's a booty bee, we're of course going to do the peach and the bee emojis. Now I'm going to say crochet booty bee handmade plushie. And that's going to be my title for this. Now, in terms of the description, one thing that I have noticed on the Palmstreet app is you can't hit the enter button. So usually what I like to do is write up the listing details in my notes app and then copy and paste it over. But in my case, because I've already had a booty bee on my shop, I am going to click edit listing and I'm just going to copy and paste all of this from the description and I'm going to bring that over into my new listing. Work smarter, not harder. So we're just going to paste that in there. I need to retype my title because it went away. So we have our title, crochet booty bee handmade plushie. You can make the title absolutely whatever you want. Then here's everything in the description. So I always just like to say what it is. I always like to stress that it is a handmade crochet item. Personally, I like to include the materials. I like to include the height just so people can really get an idea of what the measurements are. And then I always put my little disclaimer under the end of all of my listings. So now that we have that, it is time to set the price. We're just going to set it at $16. Here is where you can put your inventory. One of the things that I do really like about Palmstreet is they let you know your estimated earnings right there. So if we're going to sell it for $16, we'll end up taking home $14.78. Variants is a new option. So I believe this is where you can include like different colors for those items. So you would just click on that if you had, let's say, a green booty bee, a purple booty bee, and a yellow booty bee. This is where you can do the shipping rate. So if you click on that, we can do kind of like the flat rate option that we were talking about before. You could make it free shipping if you wanted to, or you could also do a custom option. So this is where we could make it like $5 instead of the flat rate one if we wanted to. You're going to make sure that your shipping address is correct. We can check pickup if we're offering a pickup option. This is another cool feature. So let's say you had somebody reach out to you via the messages and they were like, hey, could you make me this custom cat? You would basically make this whole listing and then you would check the private listing option. That way you can send this listing directly to that person. Nobody else can see it. So there's no worry of if somebody else buys finalize it before they can. And finally, we need to add a listing photo, of course. And you can add the listing photos directly in the app, which is really convenient. You just click the photo button and then you can take the picture. And that's it, you guys. It's really, really simple. At this point, we would just hit the green post button to put that up on our shop. Next, let's talk about how to add a post. So if we go down to the green button again, click the post button. Let's say we wanted to add a post about my green booty bee. All we have to do is take a photo of that. And then up here, you can just type whatever message you want. We'll say, so excited for the release of my new pattern. We could also add some hashtags, some different topics, and we could post a question if we wanted to get a little bit more engagement. And then we just hit the post button in the top right-hand corner. When you first start a shop, I feel like it's a really great idea to follow other creators on the platform and attend their lives too, just to show that you're really a part of the community and show that you're supporting them. So if we click on the following button, these are all of the lovely creators that I am currently following on Palmstreet. So let's click on Lisa's profile. If you guys don't know, Lisa is with Happiness Handmade KC. She's the best. So this is her profile right here, and it looks like her next live is coming up on the 12th. So I'm gonna go ahead and click that bell icon in the top right-hand corner of her live. So that is a bookmark. That's basically telling Palmstreet I want to be notified when Lisa's going live so that I don't miss it. So the next thing that we're going to do is set up a live together. So of course, I already have my next live. It's the 14th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. By the way, you guys, shameless plug, join me for that live. We're gonna have a lot of fun stuff during it. But let's kind of go through the process of scheduling a live together. So we're going to go to the bottom right corner and click the green plus button, and we're going to click live show. We're gonna click public show because of course we want it to be public. The first thing we're going to do is add our cover photo. So you can either take a photo or you can choose from your library. I'm going to choose this fun and colorful picture because you can see a lot of my creations in it. You can also add a video if you would like. Next, we're going to do the title. This can pretty much be whatever you would like it to be. If you're selling like crochet plushies, you could say like crochet plushies and custom eyes for sale, pretty much whatever you want that to be. In the description, you can go into a little bit more detail. Let's say you're doing a giveaway or you're doing like low starting bids, things like that. You could include that information here as well. This is where we're actually going to hit the schedule button. So we hit set and we can actually pick whatever date and time we want. And that's what I mean, you guys. It is so convenient. You can literally go live live whenever you want to. Go ahead and make sure that your shipping address is correct. So this also means if you were like traveling or something and you wanted to go live, you could also go live and just switch the address that you're shipping from. You could click the pickup option if you wanted to. So this next part, so fresh import, that is pretty much for like plant sellers, and I think also people who sell like reptiles and things. As a crochet artist, you probably don't need to worry about that. X-rated, I feel like that just means if you're planning to like curse during your live streams, then you would probably want to click that button. Basically, if you click that, when someone clicks into your live, they have to say, yes, I'm over the age of 18. You can also do a multi-stream. So currently Palmstreet supports the ability to multi-stream with Facebook. So if you wanted to also stream on Facebook while you're going live, you could click that button as well. And then once you fill in all of that information, this schedule live button at the bottom will glow up, I think in a green color. You just hit that to schedule your live. So I wanted to show you guys an example of what my upcoming live looks like. So when people click on it, this is basically what they'll see. There's the note page up here. That's basically where I put all of my big announcements that I want everybody to know. So if anybody's new to my shop, they know that I sell adorable crochet plushies. We're also going to do select $1 starting bids, which is very exciting. We have dance parties at my live too, so it's a fun time. I also like to do special surprises and announcements during my live, so we put that on there as well. And then I put my little warning about the plastic safety eyes. On the right-hand side here, so the bell icon, that's the amount of bookmarks that we have. So we currently have 93, which is really exciting. People can also choose to share the live if they want to, or if you want to share it yourself, if we click that button, Palmstreet automatically generates all these photos for you that you can then share on like YouTube and Instagram and all of your other social media platforms. If we click the add button, so this is basically where we can add a listing from scratch if we wanted to. So So if you were going live, and I'll show you guys what it'll look like, and you needed to add a listing actually while you were live, that's the button that you would hit. I am someone who always likes to preload all of my listings into the live before I start, just because I usually have a lot of things going on and I don't want to have to worry about like setting things up while I'm trying to like have fun with you guys. So if you're going to preload your listings into your live like I do, you click the shop icon in the bottom. So this shows you there are 3 different options. There's a buy now option, there's an auction option, and then there's a giveaway option. So if we wanted to load an item into this as a buy now option, you can either hit the create button and do it that way. Basically what I like to do is just make all my listings beforehand and then import them. So if we hit the import button, let's go ahead and import our chicken listing. So we click that and then we click done, and you will see that pops up on the buy now option. That means when someone joins you for your live stream, they'll be able to click your shop icon and buy that chicken whenever they want to. You don't even have to be like showing it or pin it or anything. I do want to note though, so when you import the listing into the live, it will show on your shop as sold. That's just a way of making sure that somebody doesn't buy it on your shop and then also in your live, and then you're kind of stuck with having to like produce 2 items basically. So that's why I usually import the items like an hour or so before I go live, just to make sure that my whole shop doesn't look like it's completely sold out. Then if we wanted to click the auction icon, we can import that as well. Let's say I wanted to auction off a cheeky turtle. We click that and click done. If I click on that again, and we can edit it too, we could change anything about it that we wanted. We can also change the starting price. So here it's currently at 17. If I wanted to auction it off for $1, I could totally do that. Make sure that you make the starting price something that you would actually be comfortable with the item selling at. You can alter the shipping rate if you want, and then you can also change the timer. So let's say you wanted it to run for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, however long you want the auction to run for, you can update that there. I usually like to have dynamic bidding on, and that just means, so if we're coming down to the last few seconds and somebody bids on the item, the time will automatically jump back up to, I think it's like 5 more seconds basically. If you turn on snipe mode, it's basically whoever puts in the last bid, they get it. So you can choose whatever setting you want, and then you would click the post button. Finally, if we wanted to add a giveaway option, we could create that directly there. So we hit the create button, and basically you fill out all of the listing information that you normally would. You put the giveaway value. So let's say I wanted to auction off the booty bee. Maybe we put like $16 or $18, whatever we value it as. I feel like you should always do free shipping, just because if you're giving away an item, you don't want to then make them pay for the shipping. And then you can choose the time. So as soon as you start the giveaway, it'll show up on the screen. And basically if you hit 10 minutes, once you start that giveaway, the timer will start and the giveaway will end 10 minutes from then. And you can limit who enters in the giveaway. So you can click that they need to be following you. You can also click that they need to be watching the live for like a set period of time. I usually just do the follow me option and not the watch button, but you can choose whatever option you would like. You could also make it so that they can only enter the giveaway if they've already purchased something from your shop. So you guys, at that point, my whole live is set up. I've got all of my buy now options, my auction options, and my giveaways preloaded into the shop. Now, what do I do to actually prepare for the live? So I'm going to tell you guys kind of all the things that I do. I usually schedule my next live immediately after my previous live ends, just because I've found that you really get the most amount of bookmarks and everything the longer that you have your live set up. So in my experience, the earlier you're able to set up your live, the better. It gives you a lot more time to kind of market your live and really get that information out there when it's going to happen. So I always plug it on my Instagram stories. I'll do like polls and things like that. I'll add the countdown option so people can really see when I'm going live, and they can turn on the notification there if they would like. I talk about the information in my YouTube videos, of course. You guys have probably seen that, and I also show the information in my YouTube posts. I have the link to my Palmstreet in all of my social media bios because I added it into my link tree for easy access. The other thing that I do is, again, I like to post semi-frequently on the Palmstreet app. I feel like that's a nice way to kind of get your shop out there for people who are already on Palmstreet. So let's say you have someone on Palmstreet who really loves plants and crystals. If they come across your crochet shop because they see your post, that's another really great way to find new customers for your shop. Okay, so let's say you're watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, Morgan, this information is so crazy. It's great. I can't wait to try it, but I've never gone live before and I'm super, super nervous about it. I got you, because Palmstreet actually has like a mock live option option so you can actually practice how you're going to do it. So we're going to hit the live show option again, but this time we're going to click private show. That means that only the people who have bookmarked the private show will receive notifications about when it goes live. And I'm pretty sure that means you have to like share it with people in order for them to know about it. So if you're like, I don't want anyone to know about this, I just want to like try it out for myself. If you don't share it with anybody, I don't believe anyone's going to be able to enter into it. So we're going to click private show. This is the exact same for when we were setting it up for real. So you would just enter in all the information. Let's say you wanted to go live 10 minutes from now to try it out. You could enter that in. So I just entered in all of that information for the mock live. Now I'm going to show you guys basically what it's like going live. So when you're about to go live, you can see the little countdown at the bottom of the screen. We're going live in 2 minutes, but we can always just click the go live button whenever we want to. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. It'll show you a little preview of what you look like. So this is where you really want to set it up so that you have the lighting exactly where you want it, the camera angle, everything like that. I do want to mention, if you don't want to show your face during your live, you can just angle the camera the other way and just kind of like show the table with all of your plushies if you like. I know I got that question a few times. So I'm going to go ahead and click start live. So when you go live, this is exactly what everything will look like. You have your timer in the top corner up here. This is going to keep track of how much money you've made throughout the live. If we click on the show notes, this is where you would have those. You can also add them here if you would like as well. This red icon here shows you how many people are watching. So if you're the only one in your live, you're that one person. Click the switch camera option. That will switch it to the other side and back. You can click the capture icon. This is if you wanted to take a picture actually during the live. And these other icons are the exact same. So if you wanted to add a new listing, you could do that here during the live. You could import listings in from your shop. Let me show you guys. So let's import just kind of a random item here. So let's do this little chicken and we'll import that. Let's say I wanted to highlight this item during my live. I would click the pin item. So when we go back, we can see here the item is pinned. So this is what I like to do for my buy now options. Whenever I'm actually showing the item, this just makes it a lot easier. So if you're showing your little chicken and someone wants to buy it, all they need to do is click that green button right there. Same thing if we wanted to do an auction. So let's import an item to auction. Let's import this bee right here and we'll auction that off. So this is where we can hit the start auction button. We can change the starting price, the timer, and we can hit start auction. So once we do that, we have now officially started the auction down here. So for someone who's watching, this would show up green and they would just swipe it to the side to actually bid on the item. This is perhaps one of my favorite features in Palmstreet. It's just so different. It really adds like a whole new dimension to selling that I've never been able to do before. So it's really cool. Also during your live, so right here you can see Alley Crochet joined. This is where you would see all the different people who are joining and people can comment right there as well. So let's say you've gone live the entire time, you've done everything you want to do, and now it's time to log off for the day. So you're going to click the X box in the top corner there. You can actually choose to launch an after party, which is something that a lot of us crocheters do. So let's say your friend wants to go live right after you, you would just click launch after party and then you would find their username. And basically once you end your live, that sends all of the viewers from your live into their live, which is really cool. I do want to mention though, they need to be live actually at that exact moment in order for that to work. You can click to end the live show, or if you just need to like take care of your kids or your pet for just 1 second, you can choose to pause the live show as well. But I'm going to go ahead and click end the live show. Once you do that, you can see all of the total sales that you've done. You can see how long you went live for, how many new followers you got from it. All of that information will appear right here in your summary. And I believe they will also send you a live summary to your email as well. Now, you guys, we have one last thing that we have to do. And I wanted to tell you guys about purges. No, not that purge. So again, if we click the green icon in the bottom here, we can click live purge. A purge is basically, let's say you went live and you still have like 10 items that you really want to get rid of, but they didn't sell during your live. You can do a purge where you have all of them as a discount basically. Honestly, you also don't even need to discount. You can just put them at the regular price that you want them to be at. But I feel like there's usually an expectation for during the purge for things to be at least a little bit discounted. So you would go ahead and fill out all of this information that you would normally do. Let me actually show you guys somebody else's purge as an example. So if we go to the home screen here, if we scroll all the way down here, these are all of the people that are currently running purge purges. I feel like purges are usually like 2 to 5 hours maybe, but you can choose however long you want them to be. Let's click on Crystal Connections Purge. So when people click on your purge, this is basically what they'll see. They'll be able to see all of the items that you've added to it on the bottom of the screen here. So it looks like they have 200 items for sale. You can see all the different crystals they have. They're all super, super pretty. And if they want to buy that item, all they need to do is click the green button. People can also bookmark your purges. So if you're scheduling them for in advance, they can click the bell icon for those as well. I do want to say for the purge option, you do not need to be live and like involved when you're doing that. There was one time when I was away, but it was like the Makers Market weekend, so I still wanted to do something. So I ended up scheduling a purge, and basically people were still able to buy items from my shop during that purge, but I didn't need to be physically there. Woo! Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, I know that was a lot of information, but those are basically all of the different options that Palmstreet offers. Now for the next portion of this video, I wanted to share with you guys some of the highlights from my actual live that I did a week ago. I screen recorded this for you guys because I really wanted to show portions of it in this video. The only thing is, so during my lives, I play music. So the great thing about Palmstreet is, unlike YouTube, you can actually play whatever music you want because it's not being recorded and then redistributed. So during my last live, we were listening to a lot of Taylor Swift and things like that. So I can't show you the audio from the lives, but I figured I could show you what it actually looks like during the live. So when someone makes a purchase from your shop, you'll hear this little like bling sound and you'll know that someone bought something. You'll also get the little banner at the top of your screen when that happens. I'll show you guys some of the auctions that we did. So I think the Booty Bee was one of the best ones that we did. So you can see everyone's comments here. That's one of the things that makes the lives so exciting, is when everyone's super engaged and chatting and things like that. But you can see basically how the auction runs down here. And then once we hit the 0 mark, whoever has the highest bid, of course, wins the item, and that pops up on the screen. I also wanted to show you guys my Cowboy Rex auction. This was probably like the biggest auction that I've ever had. I think because this Cowboy Rex was the star of that one reel that I did, so he was in such high demand. He went over really, really well. Shout out to Luciana for winning him. Thank you so, so much. I wanted to show you guys too. So during this live, we actually broke my record for the number of bookmarks that I've ever got. So as a thank you, I auctioned off my Spooting Triceratops starting at $1 as well. So that's what I mean. Like, you can auction anything off for basically whatever price that you want. I also can't remember if I took a screen recording of it. If I did, I will pop it on the screen for you guys. But during my last live, because it was my best live that I've ever done, we decided to do a giveaway at the very end of it. So this will kind of show you what it looks like when you're doing a giveaway. Basically, people just have to click on that giveaway icon on the screen, and once the timer runs out, Palmstreet will automatically select the winner for you. Now, you guys, let's get into some of the benefits of live stream selling. So for me, I've been consistently able to make way, way more live stream selling versus at my in-person markets. In-person markets can be so unpredictable. There's so many different things that are just outside of your control. And I feel like when you're doing live stream selling, you have a lot more ability to market your own live and basically do things however you would like. One of the biggest pros about live stream selling is that you are able to reach the entire country, and you're not limited to an in-person market where basically you're just selling to the people who are physically there. A huge number of my recurring buyers are from California, Texas, Washington, literally all over the country, and it would not be possible for me to include them in these markets if not for live stream selling. Another huge pro for me for live stream selling is the auction feature. You guys, this has been an absolute game changer for me, especially because when I do my Palmstreets, I like to do super exclusive things for it. So I will auction off items that have not even been pattern tested yet. So people get the world's first ever Cowboy Rex or Booty Bee. It's just so much fun being able to do things like that. And again, obviously, if you're selling in person, you cannot do that. Selling online also really streamlines the custom order process. So I know when you're doing like in-person markets, you might have like a sheet where you can get them to write down their personal info or however you'd like to do it. You could also just hand them their business card. But I feel like if they're not actually placing that order right then and there, a lot of times people forget. But when you're doing live stream selling, you can just tell them, hey, send me a private message on Palmstreet. They send you that private message right then and there, and you get that order process rolling. A huge, huge benefit for me personally is not having to haul all of your stuff to an in-person market. Oh my gosh, you guys. You can literally live stream from the comfort of your home. There's no early wake-up calls, and like I said, you can take breaks whenever you would like to go tend to whatever you need to. When you do an in-person market, you also probably need to sit there for the entire day. I feel like most markets are at least like 6 hours long. But when you're live stream selling, I feel like they're usually like 1, maybe 2 hours long. You can make them however long you would like. Even if you only have time for like a quick 45-minute live stream, you could go ahead and do that. Another big benefit is you do not have to pay an upfront booth fee. That is one of the probably most nerve-wracking things about doing an in-person market, especially a big one. I feel like I typically pay like $75 to $100 for these booth fees, and that's just really nerve-wracking because you don't know if you're gonna make that money back. There's really no guarantee. You just kind of pay that booth fee and hope for the best. But on Palmstreet, they just do a selling fee, so you only pay them if you make money yourself. So it's been communicated to me that the selling fees are currently 6.9%. And if you achieve 100 bookmarks on your live, then it'll be reduced another 0.5%, so it would really be 6.4%. However, you will receive a 3% reduction in your first 30 days as a seller, so the selling fee is 3.9% for the first 30 days. I feel like Palmstreet is really upfront about their selling fees, especially when you're going to list the item. You can see like the estimated earnings. You also need to account for the transaction fees as well, and people have asked me like, is it worth it with the transaction fees and the selling fees? And I always say yes, because if you've seen any of my Palmstreet recap videos, I let you guys know like exactly what I paid in terms of selling fees and the transaction fees, and it's pretty much always on par with a normal booth fee that I would have paid at an in-person market. The other pro to live stream selling is the dual streaming option. So like I showed you guys, you can currently dual stream to Facebook, and I did hear that they're also thinking about transitioning into other platforms as well in the future. Another great thing about live stream selling is you don't need a huge amount of inventory to go live. I feel like when you do an in-person market, there's a lot of pressure to have a ton of inventory. You want your booth to look really full and have a bunch of different options and everything. But when you're live stream selling, you really don't have that problem. You can just kind of have whatever you have available right here and show them one by one to everybody. So it's really less pressure to have a huge amount of stuff. I already touched on this a little bit, but again, you have the freedom to go live literally whenever you want. If you have a traditional 9 to 5, but you still want to go live on Palmstreet, you can just go live on the weekends. If you're only available Wednesday nights, you can go live then. You can literally just do whatever works best for you. This is another one of my favorite aspects about doing a live stream selling is you are not at the mercy of an event coordinator. When you do an in-person market, a huge amount of your success really depends on how the event coordinator like advertise the event, how many other crochet artists they have, where they're placed in that market, your physical position in that market. There's just so many different things that are outside of your control, not to mention the weather and if it's raining or windy and all of those things. But when you're doing live stream selling, you can literally control everything, the time of day, the place, and you can drive your own traffic, you guys. This is so huge. When you do an in-person market, you pretty much have no idea who's going to be there. Your demographic could show up, or it could have been marketed a different way, and maybe you don't do so well because of that. But when you do your own live stream selling, people are coming specifically for you and to see your creations. And finally, another big pro is the after party feature that I was telling you guys about. I feel like that's a really great way to like team up with other creators, and then you're kind of like helping each other grow. The other great thing, you guys, is Crochet Trains. So that's basically where you get a group of friends and everybody gets a specific time slot. So let's say I'll go at 11, Lisa will go at 12, Kate will go at 1, and it'll just keep going like that. And the whole while you're using the after party feature for each person. It's just a great way to like market yourself. That way whoever's following the other person might follow you, and so on. Now you guys, it is time to get into my top tips for selling online. I feel like this portion of the video has been long awaited. So many of you guys has been asking about this. So I'm really excited to share with you guys everything that I've learned. Like I said, I've only been doing this for a few months, so I feel like I'm still really learning, but these are some of the things that I feel like have really helped take my shop to the next level and continue growing. So my first tip for selling live, of course, is to hype it up however you can on your Instagram stories, on your YouTube, on your TikTok, YouTube Live, basically any social media platform that you can think of. You really want to market it as much as you can and really get the word out there so you can try to have as many viewers and participants as possible. Tip number 2 is to set up bundled shipping. So that's basically what I was showing you guys before, my like base rate, I guess, is $8 per item plus an additional $2 for each item you add on. And you can charge whatever you would like for shipping, but the reason I recommend bundled shipping is because it really encourages people to add multiple items to their order. If you think about it, let's say somebody wanted to buy my Booty Bee, but they also wanted to buy a loaf cat. If they have to pay $8 for each item, that shipping cost really starts to add up quick, and obviously it doesn't cost that much to ship the items, so make sure you set up the bundled shipping option. The next tip is to consider doing giveaways, discounts, and low starting auctions. Doing stuff like this really draws people into your live. It gives them something to be excited about, obviously, but I will say make sure that whatever you do makes sense for you. You want to make sure at the end of the day that you're still making money during your live, so you don't want to do too many giveaways. But like I said, during my auctions, I usually like to do $1 starting bids whenever we hit a certain amount of bookmarks, and I'll do giveaways if we hit like a certain milestone during the live. Like I said, the last one was the best one we've ever done, so I ended up doing a giveaway for that one. My next tip is to keep things moving, you guys. It's true, people have low attention spans, so you want to make sure that you keep things interesting. Don't like focus on one item for too long. If I'm showing you guys this Booty Bee but no one's really buying it, that's totally okay. Just set it off to the side and move on to your next item. Also, if you have ever done live streaming before, you know that it requires so much talking, you guys. I feel like when I do my lives, I'm constantly talking, which is great. That's kind of like the nature of going live, but make sure you have your water on standby because you're gonna need it. My next tip is to keep things fun. Again, you guys, you want this to be a really fun and exciting environment for everybody. I like to start traditions. We do our 2-second dance parties. We do celebrations when we do special auctions. We play music. We're really like building relationships during the lives. If you see someone who's like a recurrent viewer or someone who's a recurring customer, make sure that you give them a shout out during the live and let them know how much you appreciate them coming back. This is another tip that I kind of touched on before. Set everything up beforehand. So like I said, I always like to import all of my listings, all of my giveaways, all of my auctions into my live beforehand. This makes the whole process a lot more seamless because like I said before, you want to keep things moving and having fun. If you're having to continually stop to set up a new listing, that really kind of stops the momentum of your live stream. So that's just me personally. I like to have everything set up before I get started. My next tip is to have one-of-a-kind items that not everybody else has. So you guys, I, for my Palmstreet lives, love to do items that I have designed myself. If you ever come to them, you know there's a lot of hot dog pups, there's the cowboy rexes, the Booty Bees, splitting triceratops, spa pups, basically everything, all of my patterns that you can think of, I usually try to have them at my Palmstreet lives. This is just because I know that these are super unique items that not everybody else is going to have. So make sure you find your own niche, and you know you can also offer other things. So if you're a crochet artist, you don't only have to offer crochet plushies. You can also offer things like stitch markers, amigurumi sticks, and custom made sinker eyes that you've made yourself. The next tip is to be consistent. So you guys, I usually like to go live every 2 weeks, and I always go live Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I feel like when you're consistent like this, people come to expect when you're going to go live, what exact time you're going to go live, and I think it just helps to like overall build your audience. But my biggest tip is to basically just find what time and consistency works best for you and stick to it. If you feel like I can go live every week, then you totally have the freedom to do that. I would just say make sure you're consistent with that and it is something that is an obtainable goal for you. Another tip that I have is to consider running a purge. If you just did a live and you still have a bunch of inventory left over, consider doing that purge and offering whatever discounts you feel comfortable with. Another tip that I have is to take advantage of the maker markets that Palmstreet offers. So currently, Palmstreet runs maker markets every weekend. So this is basically like a virtual marketplace. All of the people that are included in it are people who 100% hand make their own items. So as crochet artists, we are always automatically included in the maker market. And all you have to do to participate is just go live during those times when they're doing those maker markets, and they run discounts. So there are 10% off coupons that they offer, which is at zero cost to you. So it's a really great thing to take advantage of whenever I go live. Of course, like I said, it's always on Saturday. Whenever I go live, I always remind everybody, hey, if you haven't used it yet, you can use your Makers Market coupon with me and get 10% off of your order. Palmstreet is always doing like fun, different campaigns and things like that. So make sure you take advantage of them. My next tip is to connect with somebody ready and organize either an after party or a crochet train. If you're doing your very first live or you're just getting started with live stream selling, it would be great to connect with someone who's a little bit more established and ask them, hey, would it be okay if I went live right after you? And then you could use the after party feature and send all of your viewers to my live. So yeah, you guys, those are all of my top tips that I've learned so far live stream selling. I feel like I'm probably going to keep learning more and more in the future, but for right now, that's pretty much everything that I could think of. And you guys, that actually brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching and for coming along and really learning more about this whole live stream selling thing. Remember, if you would like to apply to start selling live on Palmstreet, be sure to use my link in the description to go through that process. Also, if there are any questions that you had during this video that I did not answer, be sure that you leave them for me in the comments. I'm also going to link some Palmstreet tutorials for you guys in the description in case you find any of them helpful. But you guys, as always, if you were crocheting while watching this video, let all of us know what you were making in the comments. Thank you so much again to Palmstreet for sponsoring today's video. Again, you guys, my next live sale is the 14th this weekend as you're currently watching this video. It is at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys do not want to miss this live. We're going to have a bunch of fun exclusive items there. $1 starting bids, dance parties, the whole thing. But much success to you guys as you get started on your live selling journey. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and I'll see you in next week's video. Bye!